I love dumb working.
Welcome to Zero Hit Points, everybody, for the week of October 14th. I'm Ryan Miller, and video games, Matt Amberg.
We are on the train to video game land.
The video game train.
The
This
train.
is the dumbest introduction we've done.
It's the game train.
In the history of Zero Hit Points, the podcast where we talk about video games. So,
It's a completely new and original podcast. Nobody does this.
how many of these do you think there are now? I mean, when we started,
There were probably at least 3. And then we, obviously we were the influencers. So,
Man.
But did we get the appreciation? Did we get the accolades we deserved?
probably.
No.
Oh,
Did we deserve them? Dubious at best, but
well, that's what I mean. We probably got the ones we deserved still at this point.
yeah, you can't take that away from me.
I wouldn't try.
Right.
And also, if we have some accolades from people who are cool, I don't want to discount them.
Well, we should have more cool accolades, I guess.
I have,
what I'm
after all
saying.
these years, still no idea who they are. I know who one of them is, probably.
I could give you the name of we're a video game podcast. Let's talk about ourselves and how important we are.
That was not what I was going for. I apologize if that's what it sounded like. I'm aware. Like I said, we received the just accolades, is all I'm saying. And I'm thankful for them.
I like just desserts more.
Okay. It's food or video games here. So
If we could choose one, I think it would probably be Cooking Mama.
I feel like I might be overcooked instead.
Ooh.
I like my things burnt.
Okay, if we're really going for it, I'm taking Burger Time every time.
Oh, dang it. Okay. You win this round, Amberg.
I'm going to salt you like I salt the eggs.
I've heard there's a new Burger Time around somewhere.
like down the street from you? Is it near In-N-Out or?
No. Is that? Wait. That's a restaurant name somewhere, right? Somebody did that.
It's definitely a restaurant name somewhere.
Okay. And I haven't been there, which is a failure, both for me and them.
I just want you to know that you're not, but if you feel that way, that's your problem. And maybe
No, I'm not a
figure it out.
complete failure.
Well,
I'm a failure at some things better than others.
Go with it is what I'm saying, I guess.
I do. I am. We will. Did you play Burger Time this week? Is that where this is going?
No.
Well, you're the failure.
I didn't even have Burger Time this week in terms of food. In
Ew.
terms of food, I have no burger.
I think the English is breaking down already.
Yes.
The food's been broken down.
I'll not get meat sandwich.
Oh, it's Lothar. Did you play some Wolfenstein this week?
Of the Hill People, I did not.
We never talked about that. How the Wolfenstein Youngblood. Again, we're getting older every second on this podcast. The English is breaking. That's why the English is breaking down. It comes with age.
I can't keep up with all the lingity.
The main bad guy on Wolfenstein Youngblood is Lothar,
Lothar of the Hill People.
which is only disservice in so much that we couldn't remember any actual portion of those Mike Myers skits.
Correct. I cannot. I can only
We just
remember.
the accent in the first
Welcome.
line.
I am Lothar of the
Exactly.
Hill People. Join us.
So we just said that to each other over and over.
Yes.
Every time he popped up.
That's the best thing.
Again, 5 out of 5 stars, that game. Check it out, Lothar. 5-star boss names.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't play that this week.
No, why would you?
Actually.
Aren't you
Well, 'cause
over with it?
I might have played it 2 weeks ago, and every week before that, yes, it's done. So, might be the first week I haven't.
This week was light on video games. I had my son here, so I was not playing too much of the old twiddly thumbstick clickety button thing.
All right, okay. The unofficial member of the team, Ian Block. Is this who you're speaking of?
Correct.
Or official member of the team? I don't know. I'd love to have him. Sure.
Yeah, he doesn't want to.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Can't blame him on that one either.
Not one of the people I was referring to earlier that may be listening.
Oh no,
So.
he's garbage.
Wait, the guy who listens that I'm referring to, or your
Ian.
son?
Oh, both.
I'm so confused.
Look, I just don't know who's listening to this show, and whoever you are,
We're making all our money off you.
that's right. Look at us rolling in the dough. Ian's fine. He was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Is he still?
Is he still very tall? Yes.
Did you want, I'm sorry,
No.
is this too much? Did you want to touch on this at all?
Not really.
Okay, this is your section. What have you of it, you here?
I don't really have much, honestly.
Okay.
Like I said, son was visiting. We've been doing family stuff for the weekend. We did go to a wrestling show at the Mile High Comics, and it was real fun.
Whoa, the wrestling show was at Mile High Comics?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, I did not put one and one together. You told me you were going to Mile High again because you always want to buy me comics, and I just
want to buy
you and
comics.
can't.
It's not really about wanting to.
I didn't know the wrestling thing was there too.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
too appropriate.
It's incredibly fun.
Okay.
That's right. They super indie, so it's there's nothing crazy going on here, but there were a couple guys that were actually pretty good athletes, and then there were a couple guys that were definitely making me go, well, I just need 6 months of training and I can be at their level. Not even kidding either, because they were like old fat guys that have no strength.
Which were the clips you sent me? Were those the top tier fellows?
Potentially. I don't know who I sent you. There were
One of them did like a pretty nice looking jump from the ropes
Oh,
onto
yeah, he
the
did a
table
suicide
and
dive,
broke
I
it
think.
and on the guy.
Yeah. That was real funny that he definitely decided. They were like, okay, we got to break a table here because it's what everybody wants. Like, I don't want you to hurt yourselves. Just wrestle.
I tell you who number one wanted it, and this might have been the best part of that clip actually. 10, 12-ish-year-old kid with the best rat tail I've ever seen in the front row.
Yeah, you know it. He was into it.
He's living his best life. I'm not joking.
Yeah, that guy.
He was stood up, like arms up. I want to say he became concerned at one point with his hands on his head, or maybe he was just all into it the whole time. I can't remember.
Either way,
But,
he was having fun. Everybody kind
He
of had
was. That kid.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I patiently waiting for a Mile High franchise to pop up in my area. It's never gonna happen.
It could.
There's no.
It won't.
In fact, last time we talked, because I had gone to Colorado and we had gone to some comic book stores, and I was like, hey, I forget how much I like comic book stores, even if I don't get comics all that much. Even though I found you a pretty good Tales from the Crypt, from what I remember.
You did.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah, you also found me a Shazam book that I could.
Did I Shazam? Okay.
You found a random Shazam book in a spot that there was no. Anyways.
I knew that's what we were going for. But I came home from that trip being like, why don't I know about the comic shops in my town? Support your local comic shops. There are none. There are literally no comic shops for miles would be correct, but
that's crazy.
45 miles technically. So I'll support them, I guess.
I'm just glad I've got like 4 of them in a pretty reasonable distance from me. I mean, the one that's right down the street from me, of course.
Is this a Comic-Con overflow thing, do you think, maybe?
No.
Why are you in such a hotbed?
I don't know, because it's Denver. I have no idea. It's lots of comics here, apparently. I don't know. I think maybe it's just because of the area I'm living in.
Okay.
But they're all like the one down the street from me is the only mom and pop shop. The other ones are all like I took you to the I can't even remember what it's called.
It's like C's. It's
Heroes
got C's in it.
I took you to Heroes headquarters.
No C's in that. I'm sorry.
And then took you to Mile High, and we went to the Boulder place. So, I mean, you went to.
I went to Mile High?
Oh, you didn't go to Mile High. That's right. You went to the Boulder place. Okay. Sorry.
You're really messing with me now.
Yeah, I know. So, anyways, comic books. I like.
Yeah, you'll wear me down at some point. I'll start collecting again, probably. Who knows?
Idiot. Pretty stoked. I got freaking Shadow of the Bat #1 for like $3. That's cool.
I had no idea that was Zaz's thing. I didn't know that. I think I've heard of that title, that book at some point, Shadow of the Bat, but I didn't know that was.
I need to get the other 3 now because it's only a 4-part mini. But yeah, Zaz has always been one of my favorite Batman villains. So, or always, he has been since he came around.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think probably the first time I ever heard about him was from the Arkham games. So
yeah, he was never a big, he was about as big of a deal as like, I don't want to say Captain Boomerang because he was, but like Stilt Man, you didn't hear about him very often, and then every now and again.
I mean, he's no Calendar Man, but yeah, he's got an actual cool name and some pretty nice looking tats.
Calendar Man would be awesome to see on screen.
Yeah, that's true. Also,
Condiment Man too.
Condiment Man.
Mm-hmm.
That's not real.
You might want to Google Condiment Man, my friend.
I don't know. Can I? Hold on. Safe search on. I'll do that later.
Yeah, do it later.
No, I think part of my reluctance is that, and yes, still comics, everybody, shut up. Part of my reluctance, I think, is that you've already chosen the perfect collection. Like the Shazam, I feel like has enough multiple limited runs. He's an awesome character with a great backstory. Mm-hmm. And there's like an end in sight. Like at some point you can get all of the Shazam comics and it's not an impossibility. You know, it's not like you're collecting Batman or something. Who would do that anyways? You just did that. I'm sorry.
Oh man, it's insanity. Like the Batmans, the Supermans, the X-Men's, the Avengers, stuff like that. Like trying to get full runs. Like you can definitely you can certainly get some, but like when you start going back, into the 70s and 80s, that starts getting expensive. I mean, and what I'm collecting is not cheap, but it's but
again, end in sight. Like I would feel better about spending. I don't even know if you've spent $100 yet, or if comics are even still worth that nowadays.
Oh,
but
you're adorable.
On a single issue. On a single issue was the.
Oh no! Again, you're adorable.
Oh, still okay. Sorry. When it's one of 5 in a series or something like that. That somehow seems more palatable. And even then, one of how many total Shazam comics are there in the world?
A lot. I mean,
well,
like if you're talking about the original run, the run that I would really like to finish, that's only like, I think it's only 63 issues, which
that's
still
nothing.
A lot.
That is nothing.
Yeah, those books. I mean, there are plenty that float around, but they're all going to be generally in the $20 range at like generally the cheapest. And I'm trying to collect them in a certain way, which makes them all a little bit more expensive, but they're also
like already graded.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I look at these, like I look at comic books the same way I look at artwork. It's like this just happens to be the artwork that I want to hang in my house. There's nothing, I'm sorry, it's not Da Vinci or Monet or something like that. It's Jim Lee, it's Michael Cho. I don't, it's Charlie Adler. Those are the ones that I want to hang up.
And also don't hang them in your house. That's terrible. They'll just fade.
Yes. Yes. But I have been looking at I've been looking at some pretty neat display cases that I can potentially put in a few spots that have I can block out where the sunshine is, but it'll still have like a little light in it so that you can see. I can swap them out.
I mean, if we've gotten this far into video games and or comics and you're not blocking the sunlight from entering in your house, like,
oh no, are you kidding me? All my comics are like, especially those ones, are like hidden in a closet. Like there's no sunlight getting in there. You can't, like, I'll show it to you.
As long as you're
right
in
now.
a dark hole, that's all I care about.
You were in the closet. I toshed you in
Wait,
there.
what?
What?
Nothing.
You did see the closet though. I
did. I'm a regular R. Kelly. Isn't that one of his?
Yeah, you peed on kids?
No. I deserve that. That was my fault.
Video games it is.
I did play an actual 2 video games.
Okay.
And this will be great because I'm sure it'll put us off on another tangent. And this entire show will be not about video games.
If it's not tangential, it's not 0 HP.
I went to Magic Mountain this past weekend.
There is excitement for you, and then there was just gigantic disappointments from you to me.
How so?
The text message that I asked for a picture of, and then you
right. Yes, that has a happy ending too. So
it's happy-ish, yeah.
How this all started actually was that my work, because I have one of those now, sends out a thing that's like tickets for deals to places. And this one was for Magic Mountain, and they had an event called Dining with the Dead, which was, I think, all of October they're doing Fright Nights or whatever they call it, where at 7:30 p.m. they flood the park with actors in ghost costumes, black lights, and funny colors and all that. And they walk around scaring patrons.
Yeah.
It's pretty fantastic, actually.
If I were you, I would just super kick a whole bunch of them. You scare me, I'm super kicking you, and your jaw is never going to be the same.
They never got me, but I don't think they aim for people like me all that much. They aim for like my wife and my daughter, mostly my daughter. There was one guy, in fact, this is going to sound bad, focused on my daughter real bad. Like he just kept coming back and scaring her, just clapping, just waiting, and they'll stand right near you, so everybody else knows that they're there, and I'm directing them to look in the direction that would then scare them.
Right.
In any event, that began. We went to eat food, and it tasted how a theme park all-you-can-eat buffet might taste. Think about it.
Oh, no, I got it.
The beef ribs weren't the best beef ribs I've ever had.
Shocking.
But they had the ghouls, and everybody was still running around the tables. In fact, my son, my special needs son, right, one of the girls was selling it like nothing. And they're all in really good face paint anyway, or actual prosthetics even. And this one girl would just like kind of the ring, like crook neck, weird, like bendy walk up to people and sit there for a while.
Sure.
And then just scream at them like a velociraptor. And my son already has auditory things, like he'll pick up on stuff like that more or recreate it in a way. Like sometimes if he's in a loud room, he'll just start doing that himself. And it's not like, Rain Man style really or anything like that, but he likes to make noise to compete type thing. So she was doing that, and he would do it like right back at her. So like all the tables around us are flipping out about it, and my son is just giving it back as hard as she's giving it, and she totally plays the whole thing up and is like, like crook neck, like who is this being? And then eventually allows him to scare her away from everything else. So it was really cool. Yeah, it was super fun.
Smart actor on that one.
Yeah. But this has nothing to do with anything. So they have an arcade on the property, technically 2, but I would say 1.5 at best.
All right.
And they have a machine that I honestly never thought I would see in this lifetime, and it's Mario Kart Arcade GP DX.
That sounds like the most fun thing I've ever heard of.
It's, I guess what you might think, it's Mario Kart as it would show up in an arcade, so it's like Cruisin' USA style. I don't know why that's the go-to, yeah. But I want to say when I saw an article about this at first, it was just like it had some Japanese locations. I'm sure there's all over the place in Japan. I just never thought I would see it in the States anywhere. I mean, I don't get out to arcades that much anyways. So I was totally stoked. Did $10 of tokens, sat down for a bit, played
$10 worth of Mario Kart.
So I expected to, actually. I was like, I'll get a nice chunk of this in. Because the other thing about Magic Mountain, I'm not a rides guy.
No, you're not.
I am not. I get sick very easily.
And Magic Mountain is significantly ride heavy.
It is very much so. And I am just a complete lightweight. So I sit out a lot of ride. And it's fine because I'm having fun. My family's having fun. But this was like a thing for me. I was like, oh, dang, I can do this. I could sit down and I'll even have something to talk about on the show. So I sat down prepared to, spend all $10 there. And it is fun. And it's a singular experience, right? Because you aren't going to see this anywhere, and they've done some weird things with it. You can kind of tell that it's made like I would bet this wasn't made by like a Nintendo first tier or something. They probably farmed it out to somebody who's doing lots of arcade stuff. So It's got kind of a funny feel to it, but it's got the perfect Mario Kart look, and you're shooting turtle shells. You're doing all the stuff you would do in a Mario Kart, and that's fun as it's ever been. They throw in weird characters. Pac-Man is in there. You could choose to be a driver.
Yeah, you should always be able to be Pac-Man.
Yeah.
But he should never have a car.
I didn't choose him.
I'm sure he has a car. I'm just saying he shouldn't. That's all I'm saying.
True. No, I guess that's true. Yes. He's a ball, and his feet probably don't even reach that far.
He doesn't
honestly.
have feet. I hate that they give him feet.
Maybe it's the weird Pac-Man 2 guy from the cabinet artwork.
It must be. Anyway, sorry.
It's frightening. And some dude named Don Chan, who I haven't even looked up to find out where he's from. Does that ring a bell?
It sounds like he's from Japan.
He looks like a barrel or some sort of plug. I don't know. His name is Don Chan.
Maybe it is a barrel plug.
Sure.
That's what they changed his name to when they brought him to America.
So I played him mostly just because he was fun and weird.
Sure, good old barrel plug.
But then the way it chooses carts is all just randomized. Everything else, in fact, I want to say somehow the item selection is too. It's you hit a button and it does a slot machine looking thing. And in any event, played 4 different courses on that. There's 2 kind of each. One of them is like a Namco looking Pac-Man type thing. There was a Bowser's Castle. No Rainbow Road. I kind of wanted to look up how to unlock that. There's got to be something like that, but couldn't find it. Played a couple of easy courses. Fun, but it did kind of get... Like, there's no progression to speak of, obviously, in this setting.
It's an arcade game, I mean.
Yeah, there really wouldn't be. So I did eventually grow tired of it, and we went and played some air hockey instead. So
nice.
But fun. Totally stoked I got to play that thing. Never thought I would in a million years.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that was pretty much it for me. Oh, the happy story ending, actually. You told me to send you a picture of Colossus. So I remembered I had heard that it was torn down in some respect and something replaced it.
I forgot about it.
There was something there called Goliath, which I've never been on. And for a minute I thought, I think that's what they replaced it with because it sounds similar. I don't know.
Right.
Like the next step up or something. Was not. There is a coaster in place of it called Twisted Colossus now. And I'm pretty sure that's what it got rebuilt into. And while initially, yes, maybe disappointing, we both have roots in the area. I've been guessing this is where this is all coming from. You probably went to this a bunch of times when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, my friends and I lived far enough away to where it wasn't easy to get to, but possible on our bikes, and we did that a few times over the summer.
Yeah, that's the thing about Magic Mountain too, is it's not Disneyland. It's not like in the heart of LA in a way. It's not.
No, it's off to the side of a highway.
It's in a desert. Yes.
Yeah.
So easier to get to. So this was also the only roller coaster I decided to go on besides Gold Rusher is the other one there. Gold Rusher was my ride when I was a kid going there.
Sure.
Because it's complete mild sauce. Like that thing is nothing, and that's probably why I picked up on it. I've been on all of them at some point. I think, in fact, the last time I went on all of them was after high school and got myself so sick that it's no wonder at some point I was like, you know what?
Maybe don't do this.
Maybe I don't do these anymore.
Yeah, that
but
makes sense.
I did Twisted Colossus, and man, all the other people that went on the ride, like my daughter and my wife and probably my son, it said it's their favorite ride there. I would say the same thing, but man, like you get into that thing and they're weird seats. It's like, imagine a hole that you stick your knee out through. So it's kind of pinning you down on the shin and the top.
Sure.
And you're like, that's kind of strange, until you realize, and this is the first time I've ever had this experience, it's because it needs to hold you down into the seat as much as it needs to hold you up into the seat.
Sure.
That coaster is freaking nuts. It's also one of the only times that I've been like, you know what? I don't know if the human body was meant to do this. I feel it was like flying in a jet fighter or something. I'm like, you have to do so many things and have so many apparatuses like about you to make this even palatable to the human experience. None of those presents on Twisted Colossus. Dude, that thing, and the drop is like, I think they say it's like 80 degrees. Like you can tell the difference between 80 and straight freaking down. Like you're falling out of that thing in every direction.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so freaking nuts.
No, I love that feeling.
You
is
would.
So crazy.
I mean, I did love it. Like I had fun doing it, but I just about died. Like I had to sleep on a bench for a little while after, I think maybe. I don't remember actually exactly what happened
Just
for the
blacked out.
minutes after that. Fun though. There's Magic Mountain, and that was a video game. When I got back, the other thing on my mind is kind of getting some of these games off my shelf. And a long time ago, you might remember I started in on the Black Ops games because I never played any of them.
Yeah.
And I got Black Ops 3 on PS4 for free at some point. So I was like, I'll play up to them. And I think this was even maybe culminating in me getting Black Ops 4 for PS4, and we were going to play together or something because you got that game. You got that game for free, in fact. So in the interest of finally getting this game off my shelf, because I've been into it, I've started that game like 3 times, now 4, but I think I've gunned through like half of the game at this point. So if you want to hear any thoughts on Black Ops 2, or don't want to hear any on this whatever now 20-year-old game, probably not, feel free to skip ahead. But Black Ops 2, I forget some of the headlines that ran when this thing came out. Like freaking Oliver North and Manuel Noriega are in the thing. Like their faces and character models and everything. I don't know if it's their voices. I didn't look up if they actually did the voice acting for it. I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Again, this is like coming to the end of Black Ops 1 and being thrown into the zombies mode and realizing, oh, that's right. They put freaking, is it Reagan and Kennedy in the thing? Like that's who you're playing.
I remember when they did that.
Yeah.
I don't remember who they
Nixon,
who they
maybe?
had.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Ayatollah Khomeini.
But also the thing I think I'm always interested with, especially with Treyarch games, is how they differ from Infinity Ward games, since I've always been more on the Infinity Ward side of things when it comes to Call of Duty. And I think the shorthand I've come up with this time around is that the Treyarch games especially, and this might be kind of them in their prime, Black Ops 2, but it's like they take what Infinity Ward did and do an entire game that makes this statement. Oh yeah. I think that's the best I can come up with. Is like, what if we jumped all of the sharks? Essentially,
it's like the petulant little child syndrome.
I mean, the saving grace is that I think it's done well here. And when I say done well, it's done well kind of in a pulpy way. Like they're not overstepping in their overstepping almost is the weird thing.
Yeah.
Are you sitting down for the first time during a podcast in months?
Yes.
Wow. This news was not that devastating that I thought you needed to have a seat. Oh,
you've blown me away, dude. You've blown me away.
But it's crazy. Like they step everything up. Like you're going from riding horses in the desert, shooting tanks to the year 2025, which took me a little bit to grasp. But I think what happens is that current day for the game is 2025, and a lot of what the story is doing is being told in flashbacks, which they also take advantage of. Actually, like they're interviewing Woods, who was from the first game, but it's in 2025, and he's telling about how Mason, who is the father of the son that's now interrogating him in the future in 2025, telling about their stories and exploits of war and how it all leads and points at this man. I forget the name of the big bad. But that's another thing that Treyarch tends to do well. Yes, it's Larry. He's Hispanic. It would have to be
Cousin Larry.
There you go.
His number one is Balky.
Oh, gee.
They're holding a nuclear armament on Meepos.
Like Treyarch is good at giving you kind of a classic bad guy, like a focal point like that, as opposed to a more kind of time and place feel like Infinity Ward does. Like Call of Duty 2 and beyond, there's no one man typically that you're fighting. Like there's no Hitler in any of those scenarios.
Sure.
Like
it's more of an war. Ideology.
There you go. Yeah, actually that's better. With Treyarch, they've got a bad guy. Like they're
and it's Kevin Spacey.
No, that was a sledgehammer. And he was the bad guy. But
still is. Apparently.
But they do use those flashbacks to their gameplay advantage. You're going back and forth. As you're getting the story from that guy, you go back and play it. And sometimes you'll play it from two different points of view. You'll play it from the point of view from the bad guy who's taking revenge for the death of his family type thing. Or you take the point of view from Mason and Woods kind of flies off the handle, but you're Mason on the sidelines watching him do so. And it's actually pretty cool, man. It's actually pretty cool and novel for a Call of Duty campaign. I was kind of surprised.
Nice.
And not just because of that, but because they also change up the gameplay significantly with these kind of, they're not side missions, but they're these deviations that are almost RTS in nature.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really weird. You can play from different perspectives and take control of any of the units on the board to basically defend an area for a certain amount of time. The first mission was that, and I was kind of halfway sold on it. I was like, okay, this is like a competent RTS. It's not like, I'm not like wowed or anything. But then the next mission they put into that mold was basically me being able to go into an infantry, play first person, and two things. If you die, you just boom, switch to the next infantry guy. So there's zero wait time. You're not respawning. There's no checkpointing in that way. So it just creates this really kind of quick-paced thing where you're switching between roles really quickly and still kind of having a grasp on everything to the point, you know. And this later one was objective-based too. So you're like planning stuff, and it works. It's pretty fun, actually.
Dig it.
So, and I'm maybe halfway, probably more than halfway through the thing now. So
cool.
I don't know if I have more to say, but for now, pretty fun.
All right. Fair enough.
Those be all the games.
Cool.
For this week.
All right. Well, let's move on then from that. What's next?
Okay. All right. Segues. Did you hear about this thing?
Not yet.
Actually, maybe you did. I'm going to get this out of the way first. Doom Eternal was delayed.
2020. February, yeah?
March, but sure.
March. I can't. Why don't they just march into my heart and stomp on it?
Yeah, you know, on its face.
But
possibly bad news, but
wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
What does 0 hit points love more than anything?
Delays.
We love game delays.
I can't even say it. That's how much
You're
we love it.
You're so excited. I know.
It's going to be a better game when it comes out.
That's right.
I don't care.
Delay supported.
So I won't be playing that this year.
No, but that's exciting, actually, because that opens up some time.
So it shifted from Game of the Year 2019 to Game of the Year 2020.
Yeah,
we'll
big deal.
We'll live.
You know,
Yeah.
but it's nice. The nice thing about that is it'll be out of the way early. Then you don't have to like. There's no pressure on the rest of the games where you're just like, oh, this will be fine, but it sucks in comparison.
Yeah, what was they mentioned that it comes out on the same day as the new Animal Crossing 2, I guess. So
Yeah. Hey, guess what, Tom Nook? You're about to meet the ugly side of an imp.
wow, I thought Meet Your Doom was coming.
It was right
okay.
there.
I'll put it in. Yeah, it's fine.
Jeez. Okay, here, let me do it. Hey, Tom Nook. Looks like you're about to meet your doom. MEAT.
Oh, man, how do you come up with these?
It's a gift.
So the other piece of news that came out was also about Call of Duty, almost like this should have come first as a better segue. Modern Warfare coming out, we all know, this year because it's a new game.
Do we want to do this over?
No.
Okay.
And they have released more information on Special Ops. I guess they're not technically calling it Spec Ops, and it does actually, to be fair, sound a bit different, even if they are, I think, trading on what that mode was. Of course, we all know my favorite mode from any Call of Duty, certainly, but possibly any game ever. Love me some Spec Ops.
Who doesn't love Spectacle Ops? Just watch
Who doesn't love them?
Just
Here they are,
the
Special
game.
Ops.
It's basically Twitch.
And I guess there's a trailer out there, and if you were to watch it, you would see that there are 4 total multi-stage operations, and future editions will be forthcoming, it says, to all platforms. And it looks like they're playing a little bit of greatest hits with it. The trailer shows off environments from Soviet-era pool to infrared gunner's seat of a plane. This is coming from Polygon, by the way. And even the interior of a civilian-looking plane similar to the original Modern Warfare's fan favorite Mile High Club mission. So, sure, you can prey on that nostalgia. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, prey upon it. You
prey upon it.
You prey, you carrion-loving monster.
And supposedly those aren't the only things in special operations aren't the only things. There will also be missions, which are experiences that can be played anywhere from 1 to 4 players. Shorter, designed to be replayed several times, which also sounds a little bit more Spec Ops-y maybe. And those come with, I guess they're not technically time challenges, but you will be timed. So you can compete in that way. I think they're taking the hint from Titanfall here or something like that, the training course and all that. So you can have fun in that way should you desire. There will be Infinity Ward times to beat. So
Oh.
I don't get the reference, maybe?
There's no reference. I just thought
Okay, that might be why. Excited for this. This is the only reason I'm talking about it. We usually don't go into this much detail in upcoming games, but this is my thing. I think this is still possibly a day oneer,
Wow.
I say, with
it's crazy.
4 Call of Duties on my shelf right now.
Yeah, but those duties are going to go fast.
Yeah, they've been going fast for years now.
You just gotta focus down, sit with it, and just push the duty out.
Okay.
I'm a 4-year-old and I don't care about anything.
No.
What if we made the 0 look like a toilet bowl?
No content is bad content. It's our motto.
I feel like we're flushing this show down.
Did you hear about this thing? Valve was the victim of a theft.
I've stolen nothing from Valve ever, so take those words out of your mouth.
From a real cat burglar.
Oh, no.
You really haven't heard about this?
I don't
This
know.
is great. So, Sean Shaputis, he reportedly stole a FedEx truck in July.
Smart. No, I mean, if you're
also-
going to steal a truck of some type, take a FedEx truck, take a UPS truck.
Sure. They're a little more expensive, right? Your goods.
And they got a bunch of toys on there, probably.
There you go. Not what he's famous for in this aspect. He also broke into Valve and stole reportedly more than $42,000 from the place. This included Xbox One games, PlayStation 4 games. Apparently this was from a floor that was more of a staging floor than anything. It's where they kept a lot of their convention stuff, so stuff that they would bring and take.
Sure.
It's still not the funniest part.
I haven't laughed yet, but I'm excited to try.
The dude got caught trying to sell them to GameStop.
What an absolute boner.
And not for the reason you might think. Because honestly, You're just going to get ripped off.
Well, no.
eBay is where the real money's made, my friend.
Yeah, you stole and then got stolen from. You played yourself.
Oh, man. And yeah, apparently he got caught on camera there and is going to court for the whole thing. I guess he's already copped to all this. That's where all the info's coming from. So
did he he copped to it? Ugh. Yeah,
the cops, they have some quote out there that's like, he couldn't even tell us everything he had because he took so much. He was just like rambling stuff off. He's like, I don't know. Shaputis reportedly stored the rest of the equipment in his skillfully packed geoprism, where the items were found by police, with some drug paraphernalia that's probably also
totally unrelated. It's completely unrelated.
In a way.
Let's not cast aspersions. We don't know.
So yeah, great thing to hear about if you're going to be hearing about things.
Yeah, drugs are fun.
Also in Fighting the Good Fight news, the coalition, makers of Gears of War from 4 Beyond, have started giving out up to 2-year-long suspensions for freaking quitters.
Yeah, what's up, losers?
So keep quitting and get suspended.
Yeah, what's up, jerks?
Fighting the Good Fight.
I got an idea. Why don't you go stick a Nasher in your beehole and sit in the bathroom with your Marcus and then whine about how you can't do anything with your guys and shooting your locusts because you're a jerk.
And do you hear about these last two things? They couldn't be more drastically different.
Okay.
But I felt like we should probably mention both of them for the headlines they continue to make.
Hit me with your best shot.
Any guesses?
Is it Blizzard related?
You want the real serious stuff first or the real serious stuff first?
Is it Blizzard related?
One of them is Blizzard related, yes.
Let's get that out of the way.
Okay.
Everybody's talked about it. We're all on it.
Yeah, we're a bit behind, but it's ongoing. I just feel like, okay, I'm guessing the thing you're referring to is this whole Hong Kong, how the Hong Kong protests have made their way into gaming as of late.
Yes.
Okay, so a winner, was it a Hearthstone winner? I haven't even got the original story up here. Okay. Won, and in his acceptance speech of sorts or something, or at some point on air, spoke out in favor of the Hong Kong protests. And I don't know a ton about the Hong Kong protests. I want to get out in front of that. I think the safe statement here, even though I'm not as up as I should be on everything, is that protest is a basic human right.
Sure.
I mean, you could be an idiot. That's fine. Like,
and some of these people very well may be.
There's no way to tell. So the dude came out in favor of that and was immediately cut. I think at one point it cut back to the interviewers and they were trying to hide under their desks and stuff like that.
They dropped under their desks before he even answered the question. Like they knew.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they knew that he was like, he showed up and he was wearing the mask like what the protesters are wearing. And and then said something to the effect of like free Hong Kong, revolution of our times, something like that. Yeah, so they knew, and then they cut to like Markiplier, or I don't know, whoever was doing,
somebody who didn't summarily get fired.
Correct.
It seems.
Correct.
I don't know what the status of the actual pro that said that. I'm sure he's never going to play anywhere near those people again, but also the freaking casters were fired.
Yeah.
Let go.
So the Friday, I think, Blizzard rescinded the year-long ban for both of them and changed it to, the firing for the casters and made it a 6-month ban for them. Gave the player a 6-month ban, but then gave his winnings back. So he didn't get that, which was a huge part of it too. They banned him for a year, took all of his winnings, and
so Blizzard's the good guy here.
No. Blizzard is never ever going to be the good guy here. They have screwed up. And then their apology was a non-apology, and on top of that there was and I don't know, I can't read any of the Chinese dialects nor speak them or understand them in any respect. But
okay.
my understanding is that they released one statement to the United States and then another one to Hong Kong or to China, and it was the Chinese one was very subservient to China.
Sure.
It's not the right word, but I can't think of it.
It's close enough.
Yeah.
This is all going to be close enough. Essentially, the thing has exploded. There's like other statements going on. It says there's a headline here that says Riot asks League of Legends players and casters to keep politics away from broadcasts. Straight up is something Polygon's been reporting on. And there's I guess this is from John Needham, global head of League of Legends esports. The statement's out there. You can read it. It just all smacks of like the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. Like, this isn't where we want or at very worst, this is the thing I hate the most out of all of this is when it pops up, is that people in any discipline for one reason or another, because they're in that discipline, aren't allowed to voice their opinion on politics.
Oh yeah, no, though I love that. It's
always the best.
It's funny to me because
why don't you stick to this thing you're doing?
Well, I mean, why don't you stop watching what they're doing? Because this is like they're a person. Yeah, like it's I do love that concept, especially with actors, and even more so now. Like you don't even nobody has any right at this point to say, why doesn't this actor or musician stick to what they're good at?
Because you could pick you could pick like, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a freaking video editor. Why don't you stick to video editing?
Right. No, and that's the other thing. It's like if you're going to tell that just because you're annoyed because they have a larger platform than you do. That's what it comes down to, is you're annoyed because they get heard and you don't, which, I mean, I get it, but...
And it all just has it's always had this real dirty feel, especially, I think, when you speak about actors, and increasingly more video games as they become more prevalent, and the dominant media of our time or whatever, because we all sit here enjoying it. Like, the people that are sitting there speaking out against the actors that are speaking out are people that sit there and watch their stuff and love it.
Well, right,
and it's almost like, just give me what I want and shut up about everything else.
No, it is. It's disingenuous and it's petulant.
It's gross, man.
It's a funny thing that people like. And I guess it's interesting too, because it's oftentimes it's the people that are so hard up about letting people have their say and doing what they want to do, and then an actor's like, hey, I made this movie and also you asked me about this Hong Kong thing, so here's my answer. Or I've decided one of my favorites is right now is the whole Greta Thunberg thing, whatever her last name is.
Right.
I love shut up, you're 16, go do your school stuff. Like, okay, she's talking about climate change. What is the worst thing that's going to happen to you if she's right? It
all starts with thin skin too, is the thing.
I'm not saying she has all the answers. Nobody's saying she has all the answers. It's about the fact that she's bringing attention to it, and she spent how much time learning about this? Just minimum 16 years. I'm sorry, maximum 16 years. I'm sure that there are plenty of actors out there that don't know, their foot from a hole in the wall, but that doesn't mean that every actor who speaks on politics doesn't know what they're talking about, and more often than not, I think people get pissed about hearing actors talk about politics because it then colors their opinion of both the actor and the movies that they're in.
And that's another thing
which is hard, man. Separating
boy, we could go on forever.
Separate the art from the artist.
Cancel culture is real, but
yeah, and I'm not super into it, but
to some extent, I can watch the media of people I disagree with quite easily.
Yeah, no, it's like
there's a line, but sure.
Well, I have principles about it, right? Like I will watch Mel Gibson movies, but I will never pay for them. I've said that in the past. Like I'm not gonna. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and deny all the people that worked on that movie that money, but I'm gonna watch it.
Well, it's Lethal Weapon. You've seen it a bunch of times already.
Yeah, so. That's so funny. I actually made a Lethal Weapon reference today on the way to the aeropuerto.
Of course you did. So this is, we couldn't be farther now from where we started, I guess, but
you mentioned tangents earlier, so I think we're right on sketch.
A couple of the other headlines I thought were interesting is when Tim Sweeney got a hold of this, because a lot of where this criticism is coming from is in that Tencent, a huge Chinese company, owns a lot of video game stuff nowadays. In fact, we already mentioned the Coalition. I forget what kind of stake they have there, but this relates to the stake that they have in Epic straight up. Epic is owned 40% by Tencent. So naturally, Tim Sweeney was questioned about this. He's like, are we, because that's the thing. We're seeing all of this censorship because it freaking touches the bottom line, right? This is business pure and simple in a lot of ways.
Right, and I mean, obviously,
why would they care otherwise?
And obviously, this isn't just video games. This is happening in the NBA.
Correct.
It's happening
Yes.
in all facets of business right now, especially the things that are visible.
So somebody approached Tim Sweeney about it and was like, hey, are we going to see this type of thing sooner or later with Epic stuff? And he came out on Twitter straight up, says, that, quote, that will never happen on my watch as the founder, CEO, and controlling shareholder of Epic Games. And there's actually more on it too, but it's a fair stand. Like he's not mincing words, and so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, like the reality is, Blizzard hid behind a really crappy, and this is, I mean, every company has these things. They have really, really broadly generalized things, so they can fire you for anything. And their broadly generalized thing was anything that makes us look bad. Okay.
Oh yeah, they had a.
But that only looks bad to a I shouldn't say a handful. Yeah, I'm sure it looks bad to a significant chunk of China. What do you think they're like outside of? Yeah, China may ban the visual. Like you may not be able to watch it again. I mean, yeah, I guess that sucks, and it's bottom line, which is exactly why they're all pissed about it.
It's money, man.
But on the same token, you know, if you've got any kind of integrity, you're probably going to go, well, there are some human rights violations going on here, and money is less important than human rights. So let's go ahead with the one that matters. But, you know, Blizzard being much like many other companies, money being the only thing that matters, so...
Oh yeah, you mentioned it. They used the statute or whatever it was. They used as reason or justification for, like, the rule that he broke to ban them was the one that very much looked like it was written for like to protect from bullying and stuff like that. You know, like,
oh sure,
whatever. It's the other interesting thing. It's not whatever. I'm sorry. I'm just moving.
No,
on.
it is. It's whatever. I mean, there's not a whole lot we can say about it anymore.
But if you remember, I said one of these items was important. One of them was very important, I think was the terminology I used. I'll let you decide which is which. Fortnite's down, Matt.
It is. It blew up in a very entertaining fashion.
Or blew in, you might say.
I would never say that.
That's true. It's not really a term. But at the end of Season 10, they had an event that culminated in a black hole, and everything got sucked into it, and the game has been down ever since. Which sure sounds like a stunt. Is a stunt.
Oh, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, all leading up to what has been leaked as possibly titled Fortnite Chapter 2.
Yeah.
But it's such a boss move.
Oh, yeah, no, it's super ballsy. They're just like, game's over for a little while.
So it's interesting in that aspect alone, but also they've possibly let some things leak to it and about it, and it's coming up with a new map, and everybody's giving their opinions. Ninja's got a statement out there about how it's to be very successful, it's got to be completely different when it comes back. It doesn't. No. But it's a nice thought, and it'll be fun to see what they do in any event.
Yeah.
So, yeah, which was the bigger news item? I don't know, but everybody's going crazy about this Fortnite thing.
It's impossible to tell, honestly.
Actually, it's possible to tell, unfortunately. Oh. I think it's probably the
Fortnite
issue here.
Well, podcast@0hitpoints.com. Let us know how disappointed you were.
You can find us at 0hitpoints.com, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you want. Come back at some other point this week where we talk about John Carpenter's The Fog on Book Club for Movies.
It's a fog. It's a fog. It's a dirty, 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 dirty fog.
Song from the movie, everybody. It's weird. You'll have to check it out.
I will.